Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Tell us when it's going. Welcome again to this segment of the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host. And today we're going to have a very exciting show. Again, we're going to be focusing all on Portland, Oregon. You know, here in the city of Portland, here in Oregon. I mean, the largest city in the state of Oregon, for that matter. And there are all kinds of issues. I need not tell you about some of the issues that we've been having in Portland as it relates to the rioting and all that other good stuff, protesting and this, that, and the other.
Right.
We're hurting pretty bad. Anyway, we're going to be having this discussion, and it's kind of a one-of-a-kind, as you will. The kind of guest that's going to be here now. One happens to be one of the guys who ran for mayor when I ran for mayor, Michael Ocallaghan. He's here with us today, and I want to make sure he's part of the show. And then we got Richard. Richard's been on in for quite some time. In fact, he has a show called Produce the Show aspect of it, but very much involved in the community. He and I have done shows together, for that matter, whatever. So I thought it'd be interesting to have him here part of the discussion. So he and I will be basically co-hosting one another to talk to Mike, and Mike will be basically representing himself. He's got a very interesting background, but we're going to use him today to talk about some of the things that we're thinking about. But we're going to be talking about issues across the board, you know, about what the problems we're having, because everybody's looking for that needle in the haystack, the solutions. And too often you hear the politics, but you don't hear the solutions. And too often you see people who are running for office that don't have the background to be able to respond to a solution. They either have the money,
there we go,
or they got the politics of talking, but they don't know about what to do, and they haven't had any experience or exposure. And that's a very important piece. So in fact, why don't we just start off with that right off the bat, because Mike is here, and you've heard me in regards to the things that I've been doing in my resume, because in fact I included my resume in the voters pamphlet.
Oh.
And basically let people know just my background. Very important.
Mm-hmm.
And then you, and on the other hand, in fact, we even ran a piece on Michael. In turn, he was in Alaska at one point in time, and he was working with not necessarily homeless, but the poor across the board. You know, he went down there and he established himself and developed an acquaintance and relationship with the natives and the people there in that area, and developed a good response. And as a result of that, people joined him, and at the end of the day, here he was, you know, basically feeding families, feeding people across the board, you know what I mean, very responsive. And so I would suggest that you can go through my directory on Oregon Voters Digest, and you can pick up that date. I don't have it exactly right there with me right now, but on Facebook, what we'll do as I talk about this piece, about this particular show, I'll make sure that I indicate the date that they can go on YouTube and find out when we did the piece on Michael when he was in Alaska. It was a beautiful piece that he put together. I mean, everybody was involved. The governor, the whole 9 yards, everybody was involved in that whole piece. But now he's in Portland, Oregon.
There we go.
He's in Portland, Oregon, and he's got a very interesting background, and he's residing here. And in all due respect, he's kind of like part of the solution to the homeless problem in many ways. You know, just one piece of it, but my point is that he's living the deal. He's living the deal, and that's the whole idea. And having to go through all of the issues and the problems that it takes to be able to try to put something over your head, you got me, to be able to live, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, I just want to give you that just as a smart thing. But let's start off with the standpoint of, Mike, again, let's go back a minute and talk a little bit about when you were in Alaska,
yeah,
in a brief way, kind of like you went to Alaska, and then just talk to briefly about how you were able to put that piece together and why you did it.
The food program.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I did it because
you can take the mask off.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah. I did it
Sorry
because.
Sorry about that, folks. I'm going to take the mask off. By the way, I'm taking the mask off now because we're in the studio, and all of us have gotten our shots.
There you go.
We've all gotten our shots. And in fact, I even got my booster shot the other day. And I would suggest very strongly, get your shot. Get your shots, get your booster, and do this, and I'm still using my mask regardless on the outside deal because people are still not doing what they having to do. And there's a big fight. That's another show.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah.
There's
Oh,
another
yeah.
show. People don't understand that they say, well, I don't want that, my right in this area. Yeah, but I got a right to live, too.
There you go. That's right.
and if my point, maybe they can put signs on or something and say, I haven't taken a shot, and they put those people over there,
Yeah.
and all the good folks over here, that type of deal. Anyway, go on, Michael. Let's talk a little bit about yourself.
Well, the reason why I started it basically is because I was poor and dumpster diving because it's a cheap way to get food.
Okay.
Right, and so kind of the progression of it. Okay, they was dumpster diving at this one store that was a chain, and they were going to enclose their dumpster with a concrete wall. Yeah, in Alaska.
What part of Alaska?
Anchorage. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I went to them and I said, hey, a lot of people live out of that dumpster. Can we set something up? And they, of course, said no. Right, so I waited and I got dressed up in my suit, okay, and I went in as Reverend Michael Ocallaghan, okay, and I talked to the guy. It took me probably about a half hour, 45 minutes, right, but then he agreed to give me produce in one store, and so I picked that up with my bike and my trailer for about 3 months every day, and so then he agreed to give me 2 other stores. And so I picked that up with my bike and my trailer for probably about 3 months, something like that. And then I was dropping food off at like the senior center and places like that, right? And so people I was dropping stuff off to, hey, do you need a hand picking up stuff? Oh, well, yeah, do you want to pick up on Tuesday, kind of a thing. And so eventually it ended up we're doing 9 stores twice a day. We had 82 volunteers.
82?
82.
How'd you get those volunteers?
Just like, how we get them is somebody, I just, tell people, if you want to get on the list, give me a call. We got a list this long.
Wow.
And so somebody get on the list. I wouldn't know them from Joe Blow, right? But here's the fun part about it, okay? We only had one rule, and that was if you miss one pickup, you're dropped from the program.
Okay.
Okay? We had 3 turnovers a year.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I didn't have to do anything to manage that program, really. Yeah. So, but then you'd get 500 to 700 pounds of produce when you go to that store, okay? And we have a meeting every year where a bunch of volunteers would come and talk story, right? And tell stories. Boy, geez.
I mean, the story's good. Well, you were telling the story also on Sunday as a preacher too, weren't you?
Well,
were you a minister?
Well, I am a minister in 3 different organizations: Church of Gospel Ministry, Mother Earth Church, and
in Alaska, when you were in Anchorage, were you a minister then?
Not like how you think of a minister.
Would you counsel every so often?
Well, hey, yeah, don't we all counsel? And does anybody have any better opinion than anybody else? Yeah, good. So that started, and then we did fish giveaways.
Okay.
We gave away about 2.5 million pounds of salmon.
Really?
Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah. We gave away some down here in Portland. We gave away 120,000 pounds down here in Portland.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They ship them out down here?
We got them down here. It involves some complex things to get them down here, but basically they put them in refrigerated vans, and then we took the refrigerated vans to Anchorage and loaded it on a barge and hauled it to Seattle, and then got truckers to volunteer to haul them from Seattle to Portland. And we gave them away at the old Shriners Hospital, where that used to be out there.
Yes.
Yeah, it was abandoned at the time, we made contact with the owner.
Organized all this stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but hey, here's the deal about it, okay? You might start the setup, but you're not managing 82 people. You don't have to, okay? So it's like, yeah, sure, I set it up, but I don't get credit for it, really, because all these other people doing all the work, and so some of the stuff, you just kind of kingpin it, because most people don't like breaking trail. They don't like learning how to do something new that and you make mistakes, and there are problems, and I'm willing to break that trail. I've made a lot of mistakes.
It's the old KISS adage, right? Keep it simple, stupid.
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, sure. So did a lot of other stuff up there too.
Wow, man. Wow.
Built a cabin, and 35 miles south of the peak of Mount McKinley, off the road 5 miles. on a
built that?
lake with a view,
Yourself? By
all by
yourself?
hand. Well, no,
By
I was
hand?
married.
Again,
I was
okay,
married.
okay.
You know, you got kids. You know, but they were young. But you know, the lady helps out, and you know, neighbors help out, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you
Good
get it
organizer.
done. Yeah,
But now you're here.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so you left. Why'd you decide all of a sudden to come to Portland, Oregon?
Well, I was born here.
You was born and raised.
Yeah,
Right there.
yeah. Well, Tualatin.
Tualatin?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Tualatin was 101 when we moved there.
Wow.
You know, so you know, yeah, it was all woods then. And as a kid, I went out and hunted, and you know, did all that kind of stuff.
So you got roots here.
Oh, yeah.
In and Out Burgers just paid $3.3 million for land in Tualatin.
Is that right?
So they're
Really?
going to be here.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Keep on going then. Let's keep going.
Well, hell, hey man, I can go on for a while, bro.
Richard, you jump in there so often now. Just like you did about that land deal, the Bible.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, one of the things I did in Alaska, one of my brags, you know, you can go on my website. You want to go on my website, mayormikeoc.com.
Say that slowly again. What's
Mayor, mayormikeoc.com. Okay, and on there you go to menu and there's brag. See, because you're not supposed to brag in this culture, but you know, like when you run for office, you're supposed to, right?
Yeah, very much so.
So that's what I did. I wrote up a list of brags.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
okay. One of them was I took 9 cases to Alaska State Supreme Court.
9 cases.
9.
So you know that you're very familiar with that legal background stuff.
Well, here's a term I made
Common
up
sense.
after doing a lot of litigation.
Okay.
Okay, the logic judges use escapes me.
Say that one more time for the viewer.
Yeah.
Say that one more. That sounds good.
The logic judges use escapes me. Isn't that nice?
And for something that lay person, what does that mean? Lay term.
Let me see. See, now that's a nice. I have a nice way to put it. I don't want. In lay terms, it means that their version of the truth is different. How's that?
The truth is different. Okay,
Yeah.
keep going.
Well, hey man, I don't want to beat up on them now. There's some good judges, no doubt about that. Now, one case I won. Okay, the first time in the history of the United States, an official ballot had been declared illegal.
Really?
Yeah, and we had 2 of them in Alaska. Those people would not decide the case in time before the next election. In fact, they just decided it after 5 years.
Really?
Yes, they took that long to decide it. Okay, and so we voted in 2 illegal elections in Alaska. Nobody in Alaska really even knows it. You know, and they declared the primaries illegal, and I petitioned them to declare the generals illegal, and they refused.
Really?
Yeah, so I mean, how if you got an illegal
But that's
primary?
recorded in the books,
Oh yeah,
in the legal books.
oh yeah,
In
oh
the
man,
USA.
yeah,
So, okay, all right, good. That's a good reference point.
yeah, oh yeah, you can look it up.
And that case was, again, for the viewing audience, what case was you litigating during that time?
Well, that was. Let me see. Who did I sue? I saw Steve McAlpine, Lieutenant Governor Steve McAlpine, about the fact. Or no, excuse me. I take that back. It was Lieutenant Governor Jack Coghill.
Okay.
Because Hickel was our governor in Alaska was illegally elected in 1990, and the lieutenant governor closed the primary in 1992.
Okay.
Okay, so I sued before the vote in 1992, asking them to stop the illegal primary. They refused to stop the illegal primary, let it happen.
Okay.
Then another one, like I say, it wasn't until the 3rd one, and that was because our Senator Stevens, I don't know if you heard of him, Ted Stevens.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, he was our milk and honey, right? And he was going to lose in the primary because it was a closed primary. He was going to lose to some religious guy. And so they said, oh no, we got to open the primary because we can't have Ted lose. So that's how the courts corrupt up there.
I see.
You
I
know?
think maybe there was that other thing about somewhere about a highway in Congress or something. Somebody ripped off a lot of money during that time.
Oh, the highway to nowhere, the
Yes.
bridge to nowhere. Yeah,
That was
okay.
a discussion. big time thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was
Same guy, Hickel, that one.
No, that was Ted Stevens
Ted
and
Stevens,
Don Young.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
He was our milk. Hey, man, he got us a $3 billion missile system that doesn't work.
Oh, that
Isn't
guy.
that good? Yeah, man, it's a good deal. Good for Alaska. You know, it's good for all those companies, where they build all those missile systems too. Yeah. So.
We had a governor down there too that basically ran for vice president. Too.
Oh yeah. Oh hey man, I wasn't there when she was, but hey, she who will remain unnamed is how Alaskans refer to her.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, not all
I know,
Alaskans,
but
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
she who will remain unnamed. Everybody knows who
She
you're
ran
talking
with McCain.
about.
Remember McCain ran for president.
Yeah.
Right.
And then what's
Forgot
her
her name
What's
already.
Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin. Yeah. She
mhm.
ran.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
She's still in the news every so often.
Oh sure. Yeah.
She's still,
Oh yeah.
Anyway, we may have to come back and visit that piece.
Yeah.
During the election or something. Okay. But keep going. Sorry about that.
Keep going, huh?
Yeah, keep going. You're doing good.
Yeah, so well down here, I'll transfer down here to my
Okay.
litigation down here. I won in the Ninth Circuit. Okay, I litigated and took 9 years for Judge Anna Brown to let go of the case, and I appealed her.
Now, what is this case specifically? Now, what are we talking about?
Ocallaghan versus the City of Portland, filed in
regards to-
11.
In regards to
And in regards to them harassing me continuously for however many years it was, and in this particular fraction of the case, okay, I appealed the constitutionality of the
hold on,
camping
before you go
ordinance.
now you're talking about this piece of property where you were
No,
residing?
no.
Now, what is this?
No, I'm
This is
talking
something-
about when I was living, if you will, down on that other piece of property.
Okay.
Okay, down
Piece
on,
of property.
right on the river
Okay, here in Portland.
in Portland. Yeah,
Okay, and that was a private piece of property.
yeah, owned by PGE.
PGE at the time.
Right.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Now,
That's the case you're talking about right now.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
That one, I appealed the constitutionality of the camping ordinance to the Ninth Circuit Court, and the Ninth Circuit Court said that Portland's camping ordinance is unconstitutional if the shelters are full. So they said for me to
remember.
get the statistics. Okay,
Okay.
and so I got the statistics and presented it to him. Okay, and Mayor Wheeler said that he would ignore that order.
Wheeler did.
Yeah,
The Wheeler we have now?
the Wheeler we have right now.
Really weird. He
Yeah.
said you ignore that order.
Yep.
Wow. Did he know your background? Did he know your,
Oh, sure. This is my kind of entertainment, okay? I used to go before city council, before COVID, pre-COVID.
Right.
About every maybe 3, 5, 6 months, something
Okay,
like that, and
okay.
did that probably for, Right to Dream. I helped start Right to Dream.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
so
you know some of them folks.
prior to that, that was probably about 10 years ago now.
right.
So I would go about every, like I say, 3, 5, 6 months and go to the council and appraise them of the situation of the unhoused.
Right.
Here's what's going on, folks.
Right,
This
right.
is what
Right.
from the street, if you will.
I got you.
Oh,
Did they
yeah.
ever, well, that was that 3-minute piece. Did they ever?
right.
Did they ever invite you? In?
Oh, are you kidding? They never had a response.
Really? And what about responding after you got through with your 3
Oh, no.
minutes? Did no one wanted to speak to you?
Never.
Like we're doing now.
No, no, man.
Wow. That's why we
No
have
big
on.
deal, but that's just the way the authorities
that's
are.
the issue well, in all due respect, the thing that I would only respect from the standpoint, they have no background. See,
Right.
that's what I'm saying with reference to leadership. You have to have some sense of being able to access people like you and others, you know what I mean, who are already in those situations, right?
Right,
And
yeah.
if you don't reach out to these folks and sit down and have a decent conversation with them, you can't really represent the people as a whole, because the people as a whole, the taxpayers, are looking for solutions. They want a solution.
Right.
And it's the job of the person who's sitting in that chair to be able to know people like you, so they can basically articulate the fact that you are part of the solution.
Yeah, well, let me give you a few solutions to the unhoused, okay?
Wow.
But I don't want to phrase it this way,
No problem.
okay?
Go on.
These are solutions to housing,
Okay.
okay? There is a housing shortage.
Right.
Obviously, all these people on the street, they haven't got a house,
Right.
okay? So there's a housing shortage, okay? So here are 2 solutions,
Go on.
okay? Number 1, any place that sits vacant for 3 months or more is fined $100 a month per bedroom. They have 4% vacancy rate in Portland, and I did the numbers on it, and I got them buried somewhere. But anyway, that is about 12,000 units, 16,000 units is what it is, okay? So most of those units, instead of paying the fee, will open their unit up. They'll sell it, or they'll fix it up, or they'll do something so it'll be rented out. 400 abandoned houses, that's what Multnomah County says in Multnomah County.
You have 400 of them right now.
400 of them right now. That's what the county says.
Right,
okay, so those 400, you either pay me $100 a month per bedroom, or you tear it down, or you sell it, and so then that house will be occupied in some form. Now, some of these major developments they do downtown, these big high-rise apartments, they hold a lot of those apartments because they don't want to sell them all at once and flood the market. So they're gonna open those apartments. Okay, by my calculation, okay, we'll get about 12,000 units of those 16,000 opened.
Okay.
Okay, well, that opens a lot of units. We get 3,000 units built last year. Okay, so now we've opened 12,000 units. Okay, that's one solution. Okay, the second one that I like pretty well.
Wait, before we leave that, let's talk about that 12,000 you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, now those would be rented out to those to homeless, if you will?
No. Oh, no, they just go on the market.
Go on the market.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that quadruples just that one. That makes 4 times the amount of apartments that we built this last year. Okay, so that means you're going to be flooding the market with apartments. Okay, so the rent isn't going to go up a lot faster. That's for sure. Okay, that
Never does.
But if you flood the market, you're going to have an interesting effect. Okay. But then this other one I like pretty well, gets about 12,000 markets approximately, is to allow people to rent out their garages. Okay, in order to do that, first of all, you got to have a permit, but then and second of all, the person that rents can't have a car. Okay, and rent can't be more than their annual taxes. In other words, so you rent out your garage, then you're paying your taxes. So that's a big boost. Okay,
Right.
But you have to provide access to water, sewer, and garbage.
Awesome. That knocks off the poop and all that other good stuff and the garbage outside. Okay, cool.
That's right.
Keep going.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. It's basically a landlord-tenant relationship. I got this place for rent, and you rent to whoever you want, just like everybody does now. But there are a couple of cool parts I like, because I have friends that are just barely making the payments on the place they're in, and if they get a rent bump, they got to move. And they've lived in that apartment for 25 years, man. And they have all these neighbors and all this.
Right.
Well, they'll be able to downsize to a garage and save a little money.
Yes.
And
And still got.
there you go. But a person who just owns a house, who's barely making the payments and barely making the land taxes, will have somebody in their garage, and it'll make it so that they'll be able to make their payments easier and stay in their house.
You remember that realtor that was your friend that was in here and talking about how all these funds to rebuild schools cause us the rents and the taxes to go up. That's why the people have to move, but just one more bump, like you say.
Yeah, but if we can take that and not make it one more bump, and we can house, by me, I say half of the places in Portland have a garage, approximately, and 15% of those will want to rent out their garage. Okay, so that gives us 12,000 apartments, if you will.
Right. Makes sense.
So if you do both of those, you got 24,000 apartments. You only build 3,000 a year. So, and a couple of things about it. It's a 1-year permit, and there's a 5-year sunset clause to it.
Okay, good. There you go.
So if it doesn't work, or if it works, we can make it better. But hey, here's one thing about it. Everybody knows about this, right? Once politicians get a hold of it, a few other things happen to it. But the basic thing is pretty sound, because here you are sleeping in a tent, and it's miserable. Okay, you haven't got any heat, so you don't need heat.
No light.
You don't need a heat in the garage.
That's right. That's right.
You know, you don't need a light, but you're going to have electricity.
You're not
you know?
pooping. You're not pooping on the streets or anything.
Right, yeah, yeah, and you can
You know what I
either rent a can or you can get these ship toilets that they have in these little ships, you know, that have a pump water thing in it. It's got a container
Oh, yeah.
and pour
Oh,
it
yeah.
out,
Oh,
and
yeah. Oh, yeah.
you know, something like that. But you got to set up something for them,
Right.
you know. But it's not going to have the impact on a community that
Right.
that
We have
having
now.
you know, you put
Well, you know, the good point about that's what I'm saying. I'm having this because we're going to extend this a little bit because when you think about that, if all of a sudden you're dealing with a homeowner, that they can see a benefit, if you will, of being able to make their mortgage payment and things of that nature, they're going to get involved with that situation to make
Makes the
sure
difference,
that the
yeah.
person they get a person in there, the person comes in, and all of a sudden, hey, look, by the way, you got a place now. Excuse the French, to take a shit.
yeah. There you go.
You can
Yeah.
wash your face over here.
That's
If
right.
I don't have a sink, I'll make one.
Yeah.
And accommodate that just to make
Well,
sure.
you have a slop bucket
Well,
under it. Yeah.
well, but regardless, but my point
Yeah.
is that it's going to be taken care of.
There you
get my
go.
point?
That's
because
right.
I'm living in this home, and I don't want this stuff. I don't want you going around my house and my garden
Right.
or whatever and taking a poop and taking a shovel. No, they're going to be more responsible. Each homeowner is going to be responsible
Certainly.
to keep it together.
Right.
And then you got this idea that you got this limitation in terms of time. Let's say if the person doesn't have a job, and after a while they do get a job, you got this other writing, if you will. Maybe the housing authority of Portland can get in there from this time. Because now the housing authority, you still fill out the paperwork. Now if the person makes enough money, got me, they can then leave that piece and get on this other list
Yep.
and get in that situation, and then another person can take that particular spot.
Sure.
Oh wow.
Like a
This-
duplex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's the really major deal, look at the millions of dollars they're spending on garbage right now.
Sure.
Because and even the poop situation and the water and this, that, and the other. The bottom line is that regardless of who you are, you gotta take a poop after you get through eating.
That's right.
You gotta have a drink of water. So
You got to have the
you wanna take a bath, something.
Yeah,
to
without
clean-
water, you can't have coffee.
You can't have coffee. You see what I'm saying? And all these people that we're talking about, even today, that are identified as homeless, at one point in time were decent, law-abiding citizens.
Sure, they are.
Working every day.
Hey, most
Eat.
most of them are anyway.
Yes,
but
right.
and even the people that are housed, there are
Yes.
some people that
Oh, yeah.
steal.
Oh yeah, big time. But my point is that we within the system though, at least you take care of the basics, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
Take
yeah.
care of the basics. Now, when you go in somebody's house, that's a different ballgame.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
they
yeah.
get stuff all over the place. But
Sure.
the fact of the matter is, they do have a toilet there. Got my point? And
Sure.
They do know that the garbage hauler is going to come up there and expect the garbage to be in the can.
Right.
You
Sure.
got me?
Oh, yeah.
So there's a
Yeah.
system, that
Right.
as opposed to what we have now. They have no
Chaos.
system.
Chaos.
Is it- well,
Nobody likes it this way. That's the thing about it. Nobody.
nobody likes it. But
Yeah.
see, but the point I'm making is that the key is that these people who sit in these responsible positions that we elect, like the mayors, like the city commissioners, like the county chair, like the county commissioners, you got these people that are sitting up there. That's what you expect them to do. In fact, reach out, and that's why I'm stopping at this point in time to talk about Mike here, because in all due respect, if they would have been able to sit down with you, and I'm asking you the point, did any of them, whether it be the county or the city, reached out to you for you to share with them what you just shared with us?
No.
See, and that's the problem that we're having. You see where I'm kind of coming from? I'm not trying to knock the ones that are there. We just got to change that system. So consequently, the media needs to get involved in this process.
Well.
Media needs to get from the standpoint. We need to educate the public about this issue that we're talking about right. But we're part of the media right now.
Sure.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Richard and I
Oh,
are
yeah.
both part of the media because we're trying to communicate. We're just facilitators in many ways. I just happened to run for mayor too at that point in time, and that was one of my major issues. In fact, I'll make this statement because part of my platform was, and we talked a little bit about that. Had I ran for won the mayorship spot, or you would have hired me, and I would have hired you. Either way, my point is that because the name of the game, I wanted people that had some background to deal with the issues that I was talking to on my platform to solve the problem, like the homeless aspect of it. And you were perfect.
Yeah.
And then I was in that aspect of it because me too. I had some issues. So one of the first thing I would have done had I won, I would have taken this whole list of folks who ran for mayor, and we'd have a big session, public session.
Yeah.
Public. We go to the Coliseum over here, call the Blazers up and say, look, we want to have a session here. All the mayors, people who ran for mayor before that, we want to have a discussion on homeless. What was your idea?
Yeah.
What was your idea? Everybody's idea aspect of it, okay? And then have this discussion publicly, and then by having it very public and having all the media there, then we televise that on TV to educate the public, and then hopefully come out with solutions like what you just talked about.
Yeah.
Get the private sector involved in that, the builders, the home builders, the license, the whole 9 yards, and talk about these issues. But unfortunately, we don't have that. See.
Well, let me. One of the things that I had proposed that never got any light because of COVID, okay, is I want to set up a system, what I call it, phone system.
Phone system.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so if you say you live in Portland, okay, you call this number and you tell them I'm so-and-so and I live in Portland, right? Okay, so we have your number. Okay, so we put issues every month or whatever period of time up on this and let people not really vote on it, but we want to poll people, okay? So there are 3 issues that I think would get 100% support. Maybe not 100, maybe 97. But anyway, these issues I'd like to see implemented, okay? One of them was a dime deposit per cigarette filter. So when you come and you buy your pack of cigarettes, you pay $2 more for your pack of cigarettes, okay? You bring those filters back, you don't pay another $2.
Huh.
Okay? Filters are the most common litter in the United States.
Oh, really?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you think about that? Yeah.
Yeah, everywhere. They're everywhere. Okay? And it's irresponsible. Okay? And we don't need to tax it. All we need to do is make the first $2 go on the deposit and you bring the butts back. But then if you're somebody who's unhoused or somebody who's low on their resources, you can go around and pick up butts.
Yeah, okay.
You can go around and pick up filters just like
That's
cans.
different.
Yeah, and take them to the cigarette dealer and then he's got to cough it back up.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
So that's one.
Give me another.
Okay, yeah, I got 3 of them.
I know you got a whole bunch of them.
No, 3 of them, just 3 of them. Okay. Anywhere liquor is dispensed, okay, dispensed, key term, okay, there needs to be a standalone breathalyzer. Okay. I don't know where .8 is. .08 is what it is. Okay, I have no idea, really. Am I drunk? I don't know. Okay, it's a responsibility by me. The state will put you in jail if you're ignorant of this fact. They're responsible for letting me inform myself. Okay, if I'm .09, I can have a cup of coffee. I can have something to eat. I can hang. But now I don't know. So anywhere liquor is dispensed, they need to put a standalone breathalyzer. That information doesn't go to anybody but you.
In that liquor store.
Well, where it's dispensed. Liquor store, no. Liquor store is they sell bottles in a liquor store. It's not a dispensary where you pour it out. Any bar. Basically.
Okay. In the bar. Okay.
Right.
I guess what I'm thinking is that you got these containers. You got to go over and you do your deal. Somebody has to sanitize those deals.
Well, yeah, they got ones. They got. First of all, they got throwaway, and then they got another little thing you can put on it and blow in it, and then throw that away.
That's pretty hard for somebody that's drunk.
Well, yeah, but for me, I would like to know. Okay, but I'd like to know if I'm drinking, and I do.
You solve that problem. You can solve that problem. I like the idea.
Yeah. Okay. That's another one. That's the second one. I think they're 100%ers.
Okay.
And the third one is that presently any packaged food has a pull date on it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not good after. Well, that doesn't mean that it's unsuitable to be consumed. It's mean it's not as good as it could be.
Right, yeah.
Okay, but they throw it away.
Right.
Okay, England and France passed laws making that illegal.
Really?
Yep.
What did they do?
They passed a law saying it's illegal to throw it away.
Just eat it. Oh.
Well, or give it away.
I'll give it away.
Yeah.
I'll throw it away. Okay.
Yeah, so with the stroke of a pen, here in Portland, we could feed thousands of meals every day.
Interesting.
Yep, just by saying can't throw it away, sorry.
Well, you know, when you think about that's the other piece. You got the food bank. We got the food bank here.
Right.
We got the food bank.
Yeah.
And in all due respect, I know the woman that basically started that whole piece.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Clara Peoples.
Oh,
Remember
mhm.
Clara?
Yeah, I remember the name,
Yeah,
Peoples.
Clara was the one that went around into the farmers and this, that, everybody for that matter. And she was feeding people out of a church, Bethlehem AME Church.
Really?
Yay,
She was doing
yay.
this all over the place. In fact, she's the one that brought in the district. What was the other day, Lee? Oh, well,
You have to have somebody move it from the farm to
Right.
church.
She was dealing with that piece. And that was part of one of the deals I was saying. I think any food that was either at some point in time with the stores were getting ready to give away this, that, and the other, whatever, or anybody, even folks who just want to give foods and cans to folks who are homeless and whatever, take it to the food bank.
Yeah. Well, one of the things about the food bank is
And
that,
but we have to talk about it. But the idea is that have some situation where they've got some sense of control, where someone can say, okay, fine. Now, if you give someone a package of stuff, someone basically comes and says, look, here's some food. You got a paper bag and all this, that, and the other. You tell them then, bring it back. You get 5 cents, as you say, or something. Don't just throw it on the street. When you get through taking the can and you eat the can of beans or whatever, you just don't throw 5 cents. In the mindset, I'll get myself 5 cents.
yeah,
People will pick that stuff up. But the way it is right now, look at our streets today. When they give stuff to these folks right now, the homeless folks, they just throw it right there. They even throw it right outside of their camps. I mean, I drove all the way from North Portland today, coming here.
Sure.
All along the freeway.
Sure.
They moved from point A to point B.
Sure.
And all this trash is just still sitting there.
Oh,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
See,
well,
they-
hey, here's the deal about it, okay, is that when they get swept, now I'm no defending it, okay, it's gross, okay, and I would never have anything like that around my
Jesus
tents,
Christ.
okay, but what happens is that the authorities come in and they say, you've got to move, you've got 24 hours to move, okay, you're not going to move those pallets. You know, you're not going to move all that other stuff. You're going to leave all that stuff, man, and you're going
Yeah,
to.
but pick up the trash too, Mike.
Hey, I'm not defending them.
Yeah,
Okay, now where
back from over here.
in my
Back 'em up.
neighborhood, they provide a dumpster. Okay, they also
okay.
provide an outhouse. The
all
city
right.
does, so that's great. You know, that's great. That takes care of it. But it is a citywide problem, and it's fascinating.
They can organize. I mean, you and we're talking about.
Sure, yeah, but you know,
That's a problem.
It is a
That's a
problem.
problem. And it doesn't cost $10 million to solve the problem.
Well, you know, to try
Costing
and
money.
It's costing money, don't get me wrong.
oh, sure, but to try and expect people that are unhoused to somehow organize to put all this stuff in a particular dumpster is a hard thing to do.
Yeah, but these their own. I mean, if I've given you a packet of food, a deal of food, and all I ask you is just to put it in a dumpster or somewhere.
Well, but that's the system. That you know, when you're talking about now, and I'm talking about a subgroup. Okay, there's a subgroup of people that don't behave socially normally.
Okay.
Okay. Now
Okay.
we get into the mental illness aspect of it.
Well, you know, the standard mythology, and not to dispute it, is that the unhoused are mentally ill, alcoholic, drug addicts.
Okay. all
Okay.
right.
Now there is that aspect. There's no doubt
Well,
about
they
that.
deal with
Okay.
those. That's a
Okay.
different entity. But the bulk of them are not.
The bulk of them are not, right?
Right.
Yeah, but and there's I have go by a lot of camps where there is no garbage. Okay.
That's right. You're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
You're right.
So and our eyes are naturally attracted to the garbage. It's like, God, that looks like gross. You know? Yeah, sure, it is, and it's been growing for a long time, and there is no potential solution in sight. Okay, and for a lot of reasons, you know, the city council, they're all siloed. It's not my problem. It's not my problem. It's not my problem. It's not my problem. Okay, so you know you got to deal with that, and you know, see, you know, now they just opened up 3 sites for unhoused camps. They just announced, right? So
They're
you know,
gonna put
there's
those little houses.
Yeah, yeah.
Row after row.
right, yeah,
I
you
wonder
know.
if they'll be happy in those little houses.
Well, now it depends on the person, okay, and they will be happier in those little houses than they were when they were out unsafe, okay,
With the rain.
and that well, no, with the
cold.
police, Okay, 52% of the Portland police arrests are unhoused.
Yep, I heard that. Yep.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, you know, that, and you're swept all the time.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so one thing about that policy, okay, is it breeds mental illness, drug addiction, and alcoholism.
But
Okay?
who's addressing the issue?
Nobody.
That's what I'm trying. That's the point.
Right.
I'm making.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, me too. You know, is that here's a potential solution,
Yeah.
but don't want to market it. Okay, because everything's marketed now as a solution to the unhoused.
Okay.
Okay, because that's not the way you want to do it. You want to go, okay, people, if you got enough money, you might have a place to live because we're going to expand housing.
Right.
You know, it used to be in Old Portland, okay, right on Burnside, right on the other side of the bridge there, you know, that's where all the bums lived, you know, and they're probably, I planted trees with them, and they're probably population a couple hundred, you know, and those old flea bag hotels, you know, and those flea bag hotels aren't there now, you know, so, you know, we need more housing. And it's not going to come online. I mean, they got, what, $64 million to build housing, you know, for people. And they have one project that's kind of underway. And it's like, oh, wow, you guys are all housed, aren't you? You're not in a rush for this, are you? You know, but then again, you know, they got the bureaucracy to count through, you know, and then they've got to have an architect draw up the plans, and they got to, you know, do
Half the money's gone.
Oh, hey, it's a complex process. It is, you know. But to me, it's too expensive. Okay,
It's too expensive.
they don't have any idea.
It's too
Okay,
expensive now.
yeah. Here's something I did because I was never included in the unhoused survey.
Right.
Okay, so one time I was. Okay, and I thought, wow, that's weird. I'm gonna, you know, because I knew it was bogus. So what I did for the next 2 weeks is I went around to groups of people as I was going on my daily thing in Southeast, and I would ask them, are you sleeping outside? And if they said yes, I would ask them, were you included in the survey?
Right.
Okay, after 2 weeks, I surveyed 75 people who were sleeping outside.
Okay.
15 were included in the survey.
Okay.
The survey amount was about 2,000. Okay, so that means you multiply 2,000 times 5. That's 10,000. Okay, that was like 6 years ago. Okay, then they did another homeless survey here about a year ago, something like that. So I thought, I'll check this out. For 3 days, I found 17 unhoused people. Not one had been included in the survey. Okay, so we probably have 15 to 20,000 people in Portland sleeping outside. Okay, and like you mentioned earlier, you know, these people were all housed and doing okay a while ago. You know, it's not like they came from nowhere. You know, so the problem is economic inequity. And big time, you know, basically in housing. And I just wrote up a piece about my little housing thing, but kind of how I start out. You see Portland in the, you know, 1900s through 28, you know, and you see all these houses. They're big, you know, they have big families, you know, and lumber was cheap, property was cheap, relatively speaking. So you see these places pop up, right? Then you see after, you know, when the Depression hit, you know, all these little smaller places further out a little bit, you know, out on like 30th and 40th, you know, way out there, you know. And then you see World War II, you know, and the housing, that's where I was born in Kellogg Park out by Milwaukee. It was government housing for the war, right? And then the war, after the war, this is what made the huge difference in this country, okay? Everybody came home from the war, had the opportunity to buy a house.
Yeah. Go to school too.
That's right. That's right. And that's the thing that made the biggest difference. They came invested in this country, and they became rich because of that, okay? And we haven't got that now, okay? So if you haven't got a house, you're poor. You got a house, you're rich. Okay, so, but it's a fundamental problem, okay? I like, there's a meme that is on Facebook of this gorilla that's right next to this guy that's sitting there. Gorilla says, hey, you know, you're the only one that pays to live here. So, who do we pay? Okay, we pay the banks. Okay, the banks own it all. Everybody's got a mortgage. Everybody pays the bank. Nobody's ever paid off their property. Okay, and it's like a ripoff. Man, wait, hey, just a minute here, man. Hold it. Why we gotta, you know, I don't mind paying 30% of my income or something like that. I would pay 50% of my income. Right now, and my income's $1,000 a month, so I gotta pay more than 50% of my income to have a place to live.
But go back to the war piece aspect. I thought it was one piece that we might have missed, meaning that when that war was happening aspect of it, there was two things. One could volunteer, and if you didn't volunteer, you were drafted.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
you got me?
Right.
But my point is that it was a training deal, just like when you go to camp, if you aspect of it.
Sure.
They educate you and train you.
Right.
They train you the basics.
Okay.
How to clean yourself, how to do this, how to do that,
Yeah.
how to do this, how to do that.
Right.
That type of routine. Okay, got
Sure.
me? So by the time that war was over, and they came back to these communities, they knew how to take care of housing.
Oh,
Yeah.
They knew how all of a sudden the education system, which was hurt at that point in time, got me? All of a sudden, the education was receptive to them, got me? So a lot of those people took advantage of that. They couldn't
Sure.
have gone to school had that not been there. See?
Right.
So
Oh,
but
no.
the point is, but now look at what we got missing today. We have no draft.
Well, we don't have if we could buy houses, like they gave in the GI Bill.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. I'm saying that some of those things should have been kept in place, if
Sure.
you will, for the people at the lower end.
Sure.
That's what
Right.
You see? So my point is, if you got the draft, that means that people will get into that deal, go through the system, and get that learned piece. Those who basically didn't graduate from high school or this, that, and the other, and whatever, guess what? They get the education, because in the military, you got to have that GED.
Yeah.
They're gonna train you. You're gonna learn something. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
Everybody's employed in the military.
Yep.
In fact, right?
Sure.
Everybody's employed. Everybody's got a job to do. So consequently, when they transitioned back, as you say, in this country, there was no such thing as people saying they were unemployed. They were working.
Yep.
They just transferred to the private sector, so to speak. You got me? We don't have that system today.
Right.
You got
Yeah.
me?
Well, you got to work with what you got.
Well, but my point is that working with what we got and being able to implement something that did work,
Right.
you
Oh
just
yeah.
improve on it, or you just
Sure.
kind of tweak it a little bit,
Right.
like you said, to make it a little bit more humane. If we don't have a military for whatever that meant, but you tweak it, make sure you got that system. in
Well,
place.
we could do CCC and WPA again, and had that's the same kind of thing,
Yep,
you know.
yep,
Oh yeah,
yep.
yeah. Now they should build trails,
Yep,
you know. Build.
Yep. And I think the other thing is, I remember going into a session early on when they started talking about the housing deal. It was a whole issue with the county. The county they had the discussion, they were up there, the commissioners were there talking about this, that, and the other, and all of a sudden we're going to set aside some money to build some small houses, and put them in the give them to homeowners, and so they can put it in the back of their house,
Oh,
as a kind of a. Then they could a homeless person would move in there, right? You got me?
Yeah.
Aspect of it?
Granny.
At about $70,000 a piece, right? About 70,000.
70,000, yeah.
And you ask yourself the question, where are those homes today?
yeah.
You don't hear anything about them.
Yeah, no. Well, they gave out 300 permits in the past. I think it was 3 years for mini houses on property.
Right. Where
Okay.
are they?
So well, they're scattered all over, but 300 of them—that's nothing.
No, but I want to vet it to find out what actually came out. How many homeless were actually living in those houses? How many vacated?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They've never vetted that.
No, no.
Straight up. So where's the money? Follow the money.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to know, what did you do with those 300 homes?
Yeah.
What happened to those homeless folks? Did they go to the housing authority of Portland?
Well,
After
I don't
they
know-
sort
I
of
don't know.
learn how to live, and then someone else can get into that particular piece of property.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if those were reserved for the homeless though. They were just supposed to be a housing solution.
Oh no, this was
Oh,
homeless.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
that was the whole
okay.
idea. They was gonna.
Yeah.
But my point is that nobody vetted it.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh
The
hey.
commissioners passed the money. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh, yeah.
In some cases, they probably just gave them away. And sometimes some of the folks, I don't know how many commissioners maybe pick one up themselves. You never know. That's the way this system works nowadays. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, got me? Well, look, we got about 9 more minutes.
All right.
And boy, I tell you, this has been, I hope you didn't burn my end. It was barn burning, but being that I ran from there here like you, we were kind of like debating, I was right there too, so you gave me the right to talk a little bit more, right?
There you go. Hey, talk all you want.
But you're good, though. But you're good, Mike. You're good, Mike.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very, very important piece. So this is good, because now that the public still are trying to figure out where are we going to have a solution to our problem? We got trash running all over the place. We got mental illness out there. We don't know what to do right now.
Sure.
We're being asked to give more monies out of our pockets. Many of these folks who basically work their life to pick up maybe a rental, to offset some of their costs and live their good life, but they work hard for it, aspect of it, they're losing those homes. They're being thrown out of their homes too and being threatened, if you will.
Yeah.
See? So
And what's happening is that the corporations are buying up the homes.
oh yeah, big time.
Okay, so what we're getting in Portland is we're getting more unowner-occupied dwellings, and the more unowner-occupied, the less maintenance is done on them. I mean, you can see right now going through the community, oh, that's a rental, oh, that's a rental.
And then you got
What do they do with them?
What do they do with them?
we sell it.
Well, depending on the...
Are they renting them or selling them?
well, it
Some
varies.
places, yeah, it varies.
Both. You know, and some of them just let them sit idle.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
The high rises later on.
Well, yeah, right. Yeah, you know, I don't know. You know, it's interesting though how the housing market has changed, because all those people that I helped, most of them were of color in the foreclosures. You know, and the interesting part about it, I researched probably 30 foreclosures in Oregon, and it's pretty simple. You got to file 5 different affidavits on the deed. So if you file 4, it's not legal. Okay? Okay, pretty simple, right? So all these people I helped go to court, all of them had their, 4 or 3, not one of them was heard by the judge. That's why their foreclosure was illegal. All of them lost. Okay? The most egregious one was really outrageous. The friend I was helping found her receipt for the missing payment that she had made. She had made all her payments. And she said to the judge, "But Your Honor, I found the missing receipt. I made all my payments." And the judge said, "Well, you should have put that in an affidavit."
Jesus. And they don't know. They don't know the process.
Of course not. Well, yeah, but that's absurd. That an inappropriate legal response.
But in all due respect, again, that's why I'm saying you need the kind of leadership. We need leadership right now, in all due respect. And we are a capitalist society. We know that, okay? And my point is that that's why you got to have some background like yourself and whatever, that's able to sit down with these corporate entities, if you will, and talk to them and say, "Look here, okay, fine. What's in it for you? And what's in it for the public?" And just sort of, we need to work that a bit more.
Yeah.
But you need the kind of discussions like we talked about before. Imagine having all those mayors, those people who are running for mayor, sitting in a round table discussion.
Yeah.
And then we go to each one of the areas and have that discussion. And corporate, the whole 9 yards, everybody's there, right? You got me? And so at the end of the day, we can still keep this country. I mean, look at everybody wants to come here.
I'll say.
And then we're going to lose it if we don't do something about it.
Oh, hey, that's what we said in the Vietnam days, man, and
no,
we didn't lose it.
but my
Richard
point-
Nixon.
No, but my point is that we grow older. Those people die off, but we're here.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do about us?
Yeah,
That's where
that's
I'm
right.
coming from. Where's my part right now? You
Yeah.
get my point?
Oh, yeah.
I
Hey,
mean,
man.
I'm 84 years old. I'll be going 85 here very
Good
soon.
for you, brother. You're
Yeah.
keeping in good shape.
Well, hey, you have to get a few shape. Luckily, I'm sitting there on the podium.
Yeah.
We are going to run next time around. Now. You got to run next time. You know?
Hey, who knows,
You
man?
know you will.
Who knows,
No,
man?
But my point is that we're looking for leadership. I don't necessarily need to run for anything, but the fact of the matter is, when I'm looking at the folks who are running, I'm having problems trying to
Well, of
figure out-
course, hey, it's all. Hey, what you got to do is you got to ask for money. Okay, now how many of us are comfortable? How many people you ever ask for money? Hey, man, can you give me 10 grand?
right.
I mean, geez, man, and you got to do that repeatedly. And so basically, and I like the system that they set up, the public finance system. Yeah.
But still, I'm saying you got to be a little bit more creative. You know what I mean? This is not it's what's the old adage about somebody knocks on the door and asks you for some fish or something, and you say, "Well, I won't give you any fish, but I tell you, here's a rod and a reel and your first can of worms.
Yep.
Go out there to the lake and catch your own."
Sure.
You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just throwing that out as a I mean, we just need to discuss the deal. I'm interested. The first thing I was thinking about when we talked about anybody running for office, one of the requirements should be The resume has to be attached to the application process.
Oh, okay.
Your resume has to be clearly stated.
Jeez, I've never written one.
No, but you will. But my point, you understand where I'm coming from, right?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
See, that needs to be done. The other thing is that the issues for that particular race has to be also stated in the application form. This is what we're looking for, and these are the problems we're having on the application form. So the person reads it, right? And then they look at their own resume and say, "Hey, yeah, I think I can do some of this because this." And you're telling them in that print, in large print, not small print, respond to this, the filling out of this form based on these issues.
Yeah.
That would kind of start clearing the house. We don't do that.
No, no, man, it's all money.
It's just you put your name on there, your phone number, and that's it.
Yep.
And that's ridiculous aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Rich, any final thing? We've got about 3 more minutes. Anything? Any final? What do you think about? What about
this? Has really been a barn burner.
Okay. Anything
kind of interesting.
Okay, good.
That Alaska stuff.
Good. I like that. I really like that.
Yep.
How about you, Mike? Did you enjoy this discussion?
Oh, sure, absolutely. But as an end kind of thing, first of all, I'd like to inspire that person out there to do stuff we're talking about, okay?
Yes.
You can do it, okay?
Yes.
But to me, I think the Phone E program, where we poll what people want, will give them access to government, and what we would look for in any issue is a 70-30 split, not a 49-51 split. We want issues that everybody agrees with. So this would change, if you will, kind of government. You know, what do the people want? If 100% of the people want this, well, my gosh, you know, we probably ought to do that.
Right.
You know, so to me, we need input into our government.
That's very, very important.
Yeah.
Speak out, and that input might be in the form of when you get that voter's pamphlet in the front of you, make sure you call that person up if you're thinking about voting for that person, and ask them some questions.
Good deal.
Ask them whether or not they called the PR firm and had them write it up for you.
I don't know if they put their phone number there.
That's right. You got my point?
Yeah, oh, sure.
So again, I say to the viewing audience aspect of it, have these kinds of discussions, just like we're having here right now. Sure, we're doing it here on the Oregon Voters Digest, but you can call your neighbors together, get around the table, and then talk about it. And if you need to have some sense of an example as to how you go about doing that, then tell them to tune in on Oregon Voters Digest.
There we go.
And look at this show, because we're on YouTube. We're on YouTube. You can just go down the Oregon Voters Digest, on YouTube, and you hit the old button aspect of it, and you'll be able to get these shows. And there's the director there for some other shows aspect of it, and you can see Mike and Richard and I on an ongoing basis. You know what I mean? Because that's all we are. We're just basically sharing with you some of the issues. You know, this is nothing personal. The only time it gets personal is when people like Mike and I sign our name and run for office. Like we may have to do this next time around aspect of it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. This has been something that we need it more now, and we're going to be spending a little bit more time. The new congressional district is out. We're going to have a show on that. We're going to be calling folks who are part of that deal and who basically are looking at running for it. I'm going to be trying to interview every candidate I can find. But I'm reminding these candidates, trust me, if you don't have the right resume, please don't come.
Thanks to crew.
And thanks to crew. I mean, we got Steve and Bo back there here at Open Signal, and we're fortunate to have Open Signal. It's unfortunately our time and schedule is not in the regular media aspect of it. They should do it because we are people too, and we're a lot of voters. But we're going to maybe lobby to see if we might be able to get the local media to basically put the timings and stuff and the schedule of our various shows. Okay, all right. With that, we want to thank you very, very much. Enjoy your day and get your shot. Make sure you get your vaccine. It's very, very important. Have a good one. See you next week.